Have you ever looked at something from the 2000s and thought, I miss this, even though you weren't old enough to remember it? That's exactly how I feel about Frutiger Aero, and honestly, I think I've become slightly obsessed with it. Not because I think every old Windows icon or random dolphin stock image is amazing, but because Frutiger Aero represents something that feels almost completely lost today, optimism about the future. So what even is Frutiger Aero? If you never heard the term before, it's basically an aesthetic that became popular around the mid-2000s and early 2010s. Think blue skies, clear water, bright green grass, bubbles, glossy interfaces, nature mixed with futuristic technology, and for some reason, a lot of dolphins. You'd see this style everywhere: operating systems, phones, game consoles, advertisements, websites, music players. Everything just looks shiny, colourful, clean, and ridiculously optimistic, and I love it. But once you start looking deeper into Frutiger Aero, you realise something pretty interesting. There's not just one type of Frutiger Aero. There are a bunch of related aesthetics and subcategories that take different parts of the same visual style and give them their own identity. Some focus on water, some focus on fruit and nature, some focus on futuristic cities, some focus on environmentalism, and then there's one that basically just hates the whole thing and makes it evil. So yeah, let's get straight into them. First, there's Frutiger Aqua. Crystal clear water, bubbles, fish, dolphins, coral reefs, swimming pools, and loads of bright blue. Everything just looks ridiculously clean and refreshing. Real water obviously isn't always this perfect, but Frutiger Aqua turns it into this underwater paradise. It's basically, what if the entire planet was a swimming pool advertisement? Then there's Frutiger Fruits, which is probably one of my favourites. This takes ordinary fruit and makes it look way too perfect. Apples become impossibly smooth, berries look like glass, oranges have huge glossy highlights, and sometimes the fruit is even semi-transparent, almost like it's made of coloured glass. And that's what makes it so weird. Your brain sees an apple and immediately thinks, that's an apple. But then you actually look at it and realise, that thing does not look edible. It's too shiny, too smooth, too colourful. It almost looks like a futuristic 3D render of fruit rather than actual fruit. But I think that's the point. It's nature, but idealised. Nature made cleaner, brighter, more colourful and almost futuristic. Then there's Techno Zen. This is a much calmer side of the aesthetic. Plants, water, natural landscapes, and subtle futuristic technology. Everything feels peaceful. It's basically the idea of, what if the future was actually relaxing? Technology isn't taking over nature, it's just quietly existing alongside it. And honestly, that sounds like a pretty good future to me. Then you've got Frutiger Metro. This takes the same colourful futuristic style and puts it into cities. It almost feels like the kind of art style from the 80s, like bright colours and like headphones and like music, that kind of style. It takes train stations, public transport, modern buildings, glass, bright signs, technology. But unlike a lot of futuristic city designs, it doesn't look dystopian, it looks friendly. Like the future actually made cities better. Basically, welcome to the world's nicest train station. Then there's also Frutiger Eco, which focuses heavily on environmentalism. Green technology, renewable energy, plants, clean cities, forests, water. This whole idea is that technology shouldn't destroy nature, it should help protect it. And that connects really closer to the bigger message behind Frutiger Aero. Technology and nature weren't supposed to be enemies, they were meant to work together. And then, Frutiger Evil. Basically, an idea of Frutiger Aero's villain arc. Instead of bright blue and greens, you get black, red, darker colours and sharper shapes. It's more aggressive, mysterious and sinister. Normal Frutiger Aero is like, the future's beautiful. Frutiger Evil is like, the future belongs to me. But here's something I find really cool. Sometimes, Frutiger Aero doesn't even need to be digitally created, because one of the most iconic pieces of imagery possibly ever made is actually a real place. I'm talking about Bliss. The iconic Windows XP wallpaper with a giant green hill, blue sky and fluffy clouds. And the crazy thing is, it's a real photograph. It was taken by photographer Charles O'Rear in Sonoma Country, California, and Microsoft eventually used it as a default Windows XP wallpaper. So millions of people ended up seeing this exact landscape whenever they turned on their computer, and honestly, it could not represent Frutiger Aero any better. It's bright, it's peaceful, it's ridiculously clean, and it gives you that feeling that the world is just perfect. It's literally just a hill, but somehow it became one of the most iconic images of the entire era. And then this is where anomia comes in. Anomia is basically nostalgia for a time you never experienced, and Frutiger Aero gives me that feeling so badly. I'll see some random image from 2008 and think, damn, I missed this. Then I remember, I wasn't even there. It's like being nostalgic for a childhood that belongs to someone else. But I don't think I'm really nostalgic for the 2000s themselves. I'm nostalgic for the future people back then imagined. And I think that's why Frutiger Aero just hits so hard today, because at the time, this wasn't supposed to represent the past, it was supposed to represent the future. Technology wasn't shown as something cold or imitating, it was shown as something that would make life better. Something that would connect us with nature. Cities would be cleaner, technology would be greener, everything would be more connected, and the future looked fun. And then the future actually arrived, and don't get me wrong, modern technology is insane. We have smartphones more powerful than computers decades ago. We have AI, can instantly communicate with people anywhere in the world. Games look almost photorealistic. Technology has advanced like crazy. But visually, it feels completely different. A lot of modern technology is flatter, more minimal, more corporate, more focused on engagement, notifications, advertisements, and algorithms. Everything is designed to be more efficient. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but compare it to the late 2000s. Everything was shiny, everything had gradients, everything had reflections, there were colourful icons everywhere. Technology just seemed to be so simple and clean, and I just wish I could have been there to experience it. And maybe that's why I'm so passionate about this aesthetic. It's not really the bubbles, it's not the dolphins, not even the weird translucent fruit. It's the feeling behind it. The feeling that the future was going to be exciting. That technology was going to make the world cleaner, greener, and more connected. That the future was something you could actually look forward to. And that's probably why one phrase comes to mind whenever I see Frutiger Aero: the future we were promised. Because look at how the future used to be imagined. Clean cities, renewable energy, technology integrated into everyday life, nature everywhere, everything bright and peaceful. And now, well, we got smartphones that track how long we've been staring at them. But honestly, I don't think Frutiger Aero needs to disappear. That's maybe why I love it so much. It reminds me that the future doesn't have to be some kind of dystopian grey world. Technology doesn't have to look boring. The internet doesn't have to feel soulless. And that the future doesn't have to be something we should be scared of. Maybe we can take some of that optimism back. Maybe we can have technology and nature, innovation and beauty, progress and optimism. A future that actually feels like something worth being excited about. So yeah, maybe I'm getting anomia from an aesthetic that technically wasn't even my childhood. Maybe it's weird to feel nostalgia for something I barely experienced, but whenever I see those blue skies, those oceans, those ridiculously fluorescent bubbles, those glossy futuristic interfaces, those impossible looking fruits, I get this strange feeling that I'm looking at a future that somehow got left behind. And honestly, I kind of miss it. The future we were promised, the future we imagined, the future that never quite arrived. Maybe it's time to imagine it again.